Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah.
We'll get started at 7:20, Prabhuji. So until then, we'll wait for everyone to join the class.
Yeah, sure, Mataji.
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. I'm sorry, let me hold on. Okay, sorry. That was my mom's phone. She was also joining, so now she'll just listen in. But thank you so much for joining, everyone. This is our Srimad Bhagavatam glorification for this Friday, and we will have Kiran Kumar Prabhuji as well as Kishore Prabhuji glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 2, chapters 3 or 4 and 5. So with that being said, we will start with Kiran Prabhuji for Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 2, chapter 4. Thank you. Please take over the call, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. I can't hear you.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted. Just wanted to share this slide. I don't know if okay, maybe it doesn't allow me. Okay, yeah, never mind.
It's not allowing you to share your screen?
Yeah. I mean, it's just one slide. I mean, there is just
Okay.
the Bhagavatam slide. That's it. I mean, there is no kind of text on that. So
Okay.
I'll start the prayers, Mataji.
Sure. Okay.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Sva Padantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunadhanvitam Samsajeevam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank for giving me the opportunity to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam. So today we are going to look into Canto 2 and Chapter 4, the process of creation. I would like to first read an overview of the whole chapter, and then maybe when I have time, I just wanted to go through the purports of as many as I could. But first, I would like to go through the summary or overview. So in this chapter, after hearing Sukadeva Goswami's speech, Maharaja Parikshit applied his concentration faithfully upon Lord Krishna. So Maharaja Parikshit focuses completely on Lord Krishna, and he gives up all kinds of fruitive activities and any material affection. He has his kingdom, his family, everything. He gives up everything. And then he asks Sukadeva Goswami a few questions. And the questions are as follows. So he asks Sukadeva Goswami that how does the Lord, by his personal energies, create these phenomenal universes which are inconceivable even to the great demigods? And the second question is, how does the Lord, using his personal energies, maintain and again wind down the phenomenal world? How is he able to do all these things? And then the next question comes as, please clear upon my doubtful inquiries about the personality of Godhead, who can alone act with the modes of material nature and simultaneously expand in many forms or expands consecutively to direct the modes of nature. So Maharaja Parikshit asked Sukadeva Goswami the questions about how is this universe created, or how is the Lord able to create phenomenal universes, and how is he able to do that? For that, Sukadeva Goswami, he says, his disciples, how Sukadeva Goswami remembered the master of senses or Krishna systematically to give a proper reply. So for any spiritual master, when they give their answer, it's not their own individual answers, but they seek the permission of the Lord to give their answers, which means that the answer actually comes from the Lord in a way. So Sukadeva Goswami remembers the Lord by offering his obeisances to the Lord, who accepts the three modes of nature to create the material world. So here Sukadeva Goswami, he describes how great the Lord is. I mean, what kind of potencies he has. And he offers his respectful obeisances unto the qualities of the Lord, saying that he is a complete whole residing within the body of everyone, and his ways are inconceivable, whose glorifications, remembrance, audience, prayers, hearing, and worship can at once cleanse the effects of all sins of the performer. It is the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who gives liberation. By thinking of his lotus feet at every second, following the footsteps of authorities, the devotee is in trance, can see the absolute truth. So, after paying his respectful obeisances, Sri Sukadeva Goswami said to the king that Brahma, on being questioned by Narada, exactly apprised him on this subject, as it was directly spoken by the Lord to his own son, who was impregnated with Vedic knowledge from his very birth. So Sukadeva Goswami, he speaks to Maharaja Parikshit, says that Brahma was also questioned with the same question by Narada on the same subject of how is this universe created, or how was the Lord able to create these phenomenal universes. So this is the basic summary of this chapter. Since I have some more time, I can just wanted to go through some of the just the purports quickly. So Sota Goswami said, Maharaja Parikshit, the son of Uttara, after hearing the speeches of Sukadeva Goswami, which were all about the truth of the self, applied his concentration faithfully upon Lord Krishna. Text 2. Maharaja Parikshit, as a result of his wholehearted attraction for Lord Krishna, was able to give up all deep-rooted affection for his personal body, his wife, his children, his palace, his animals like horses and elephants, his treasury house, his friends and relatives, and his undisputed kingdom. Text 3 and 4. Oh, great sages, the great soul Maharaja Parikshit, constantly wrapped in thought of Lord Krishna, knowing well of his imminent death, renounced all sorts of fruitive activities, namely acts of religion, economic development, and sense gratification, and thus fixed himself firmly in the natural love for Krishna and asked all these questions exactly as you are asking me. And Maharaja Parikshit said, Oh, learn Brahmana, you know everything because you are without material contamination. Therefore, whatever you have spoken to me appears perfectly right. Your speeches are gradually destroying the darkness of my ignorance, for you are narrating the topics of the Lord. I beg to know from you how the personality of Godhead, by his personal energies, creates these phenomenal universes as they are, which are inconceivable even to the great demigods. Kindly describe how the Supreme Lord, who is all-powerful, engages his different energies and different expansions in maintaining and again winding up the phenomenal world in the sporting spirit of a player. O learned Brahmana, the transcendental activities of the Lord are all wonderful, and they appear inconceivable because even great endeavors by many learned scholars have still proved insufficient for understanding them. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is one, whether he acts alone with the modes of material nature, or simultaneously expands in many forms, or expands consecutively to direct the modes of nature. Kindly clear up all these doubtful inquiries, because you're not only vastly learned in the Vedic literatures and self-realized in transcendence, but are also a great devotee of the Lord, and are therefore as good as the personality of Godhead. These were the questions asked by Maharaja Parikshit, and Suta Goswami says, when Sukadeva Goswami was thus requested by the king to describe the creative energy of the personality of Godhead, he then systematically remembered the master of senses, Sri Krishna, and to reply properly, he spoke thus. Text 12. Sukadeva Goswami said, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who, for the creation of the material world, accepts the three modes of nature. He is the complete whole residing within the body of everyone, and his ways are inconceivable. I again offer my respectful obeisances unto the form of complete existence and transcendence, who is the liberator of the pious devotees from all distresses and the destroyer of the further advances in atheistic temperament of the non-devotee demons. For the transcendentalists who are situated in the topmost spiritual perfection, he grants their specific destinations. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto him, who is the associate of the members of the Yadu dynasty, and who is always a problem for the non-devotees. He is the supreme enjoyer of both the material and spiritual worlds, yet he enjoys his own abode in the spiritual sky. There is no one equal to him because his transcendental opulence is immeasurable. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the all auspicious Lord Sri Krishna, about whom glorification, remembrances, audience, prayers, hearing, and worship can at once cleanse the effects of all sins of the performer. Let me offer my respectful obeisances again and again unto the all auspicious Lord Sri Krishna, the highly intellectual, simply by surrendering unto his lotus feet, are relieved of all attachments to present and future existences, and without difficulty progress towards spiritual existence. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the all auspicious Lord Sri Krishna again and again, because the great learned sages, the great performers of charity, the great workers of distinction, the great philosophers and mystics, the great chanters of the Vedic hymns, and the great followers of Vedic principles cannot achieve any fruitful result without dedication of such great qualities to the service of the Lord. Kirata, Huna, Andhra, Pulinda, Pulaksha, Abhira, Shumbha, Yavana, members of the Khasa races, and even others addicted to sinful acts can be purified by taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord. Due to his being the supreme power, I beg to offer my respectful obeisances unto him. He is the super soul and supreme Lord of all self-realized souls. He is a personification of the Vedas, religious scriptures, and austerities. He is worshipped by Lord Brahma and Shiva and all those who are transcendental to all pretensions. Being so revered with awe and veneration, may that supreme absolute be pleased with me. May Lord Sri Krishna, who is the worshipable Lord of all devotees, the protector and glory of all kings like Andhaka and Vrishni of the Yadu dynasty, the husband of all goddesses of fortune, the director of all sacrifices, and therefore the leader of all living entities, the controller of all intelligence, the proprietor of all planets, spiritual and material, and the supreme incarnation on the earth, the supreme all in all, be merciful upon me. It is the supreme personality of Godhead Sri Krishna who gives liberation. By thinking of his lotus feet at every second, following in the footsteps of authorities, the devotee in trance can see the absolute truth. The learned mental speculators, however, think of him according to their whims. May the Lord be pleased with me. May the Lord, who in the beginning of the creation amplified the potent knowledge of Brahma from within his heart and inspired him with full knowledge of creation and of his own self, and who appeared to be generated from the mouth of Brahma, be pleased with me. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who enlivens the materially created bodies of the elements by lying down within the universe, and who in his Purusha incarnation causes the living being to be subjected to the 16 divisions of material modes, which are his generator, be pleased to decorate my statements. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Srila Vyasadeva, the incarnation of Vasudeva, who compiled the Vedic scriptures. The pure devotees drink up the nectarian transcendental knowledge dropping from his lotus-like mouth of the Lord. My dear King, Brahma, the firstborn, on being questioned by Narada, exactly apprised him on this subject, as it has been directly spoken by the Lord to his own son, who was impregnated with Vedic knowledge from his very birth. I think these are the purports for all the texts in the chapter. And here Sukadeva Goswami really gives his respectful obeisances unto the Lord and describing all these all the qualities of Lord and his opulences. I think in the next chapter it will be Narada who will give the information about the process of creation. Yeah, that's it, Mataji.
Thank you so much for that. That was very nice. I'm sorry, I have a little baby here, so you'll hear her.
Problem, Mataji. Yeah, sure.
But yeah, so wonderful. Thank you so much for taking up on the service, Prabhuji. And a couple of points that I also really liked that I would like to share with everyone is, when you said that when spiritual master gives an answer, this answer, he's getting the permission from the Lord, right? So giving, this is basically the Lord answering us, which is so great. Like when we, it really helps us understand, to take the message from the spiritual master as it comes, understanding that it's coming from the Lord. It's just so deep and very beautiful. And then also how respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna, and glorified him in such a great way. And also, he paid his obeisances to Guru. So it helps us understand that, we should, before we start anything, we should also, glorify the Lord and something to anyone. And also by Navidha Bhakti process, this is so profound. Just by the Navidha Bhakti process, all the sins can be removed. And people who follow this, they're relieved from all the attachments in the material world, and they can progress in Bhakti. Also, the importance of taking shelter of devotees. We always hear how important it is to take shelter of devotees, but even here it is, in every given this point that we need to be in close association with devotees, because even people who are engaged in sinful activities, when in this chapter is saying that they can be purified by just association of a pure devotee. So just a few points I wanted to share, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for your wonderful presentation.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Mataji. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity.
And Hare Krishna. And Krishna Prabhu, now we'll move on to Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 5. Thank you so much for taking on this service. I know this was also like last minute, and you were able to, come up front and say that you can glorify this chapter. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. I'm greatly appreciating your enthusiasm for serving. Hare Krishna. Please take over the call.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you for giving me opportunity. I mean, it's been a while. It's January when I did. I always wanted to do another one, but this is the time I got it. But thank you again. And let me start with the prayers. This is the prayers before we recite Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Shrunvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hrudiyantasto hi abhadrani vidunoti sufrutsatam Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Om Ajnatimirandasya Gnananjana Shlakeya Chaksurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatam Aham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Okay, this is the chapter. The first one, as Kiran Prabhu said, is a process of creation. And I hope you can see this sharing, right?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can see.
Okay, so this is where Brahma and Narada Muni conversation goes on. It's a cause of all causes. And the first thing is the Narada Muni started inquiring with Brahma, his father, and he inquires about the knowledge, the transcendental knowledge, and the relation and nature of the individual soul and super soul. And then he wanted to know all the facts of creation. And in this, Srila Prabhupada comments that transcendental knowledge regarding the soul and the super soul includes knowledge of the phenomenal world and the basis of its creation. In the phenomenal world, three things are observed by an intelligent man: the living beings, the manifest world, and the ultimate control over them. And then Narada Muni starts glorifying Lord Brahma, and he says, "You are the direct creator of the manifested universe and everything within this universe. And you therefore know what happened in the past, what will happen in the future, and what is happening at present." And he compares the position of Brahma to the self-sufficiency of the spider, that which creates its own field of activities without any other's help by employment of its own energetic creation of saliva. And Narada Muni also take it for granted that none of them has any source of generation besides his father, Lord Brahma. And then doubts gets raised. How it begins is he could understand that there was someone else superior to Brahmaji who invested Brahma with the power of creation. And he asked several other questions like, what is the source of your knowledge? Under whose protection are you standing? And under whom are you working? And what is your real position? And do you alone create all these living entities with material elements by your personal energy? And then he wonders about the existence of someone more powerful than Brahmaji. And then he accepted Brahma as the supreme due to Lord Brahma's wonderful acts in creation, but doubts arises in him when he saw that Lord Brahma also worshipped some superior authority. And then Lord Brahma congratulates him to all his questions. And then he start answering. He says, one can easily be illusioned by observing his powerful activities and think he is the controller or the supreme, unless one is aware of the personality of Godhead. And Srila Prabhupada brings up the frog in the well logic for our own easy understanding. He says, a frog residing in the atmosphere and boundary of a well cannot imagine the length and breadth of the gigantic ocean. It does not believe that there is such an ocean. The frog then begins to measure it by imagination by means of pumping its belly as far as possible, and it dies without any experience of the actual ocean. Similarly, the material scientists also want to challenge the inconceivable potency of the Lord by measuring him with their frog-like brains and their scientific achievements. But at the end, they simply die unsuccessfully, like the frog. And then Brahma talks about who is the cause of all the creation. And he created the universal variegatedness, like all the living entities, trees, rocks, everything that we see, demigods, everyone, after the creation by the Brahma Jyoti, the glaring effulgence of Lord Sri Krishna. He is the background of the Brahma Jyoti. The Lord Krishna is the background of the Brahma Jyoti. And it is the effulgence of the transcendental body of the Lord. And this is all pervading, and all creation is made possible by its power. Therefore, Lord Krishna is ultimately the supreme cause of all creation. That's how he ends. And then he talks about different potencies of the Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead. He talks about how illusory potency of the Lord bewilders the less intelligent to accept Lord Brahma or any other person as a Supreme Lord. And those who are bewildered by this illusory energy always talk nonsense. It is I, or it is mine, or it is like he, those kind of things. And Srila Prabhupada comments that one who surrender unto Lord Krishna cannot be influenced by this delusion energy or illusory energy. And then Brahma talks about the ingredients of creation, their interaction, and the enjoyer of the resultant action, which is the living being. And they're all produced by the external and internal energies of the Lord. And external energies, as we know, namely earth, water, fire, air, and sky, as well as the conception of material identity, intelligence, and the mind. They all produced from the external energy of the Lord. And internal energy produces living entities who enjoys the interaction of the above gross and subtle ingredients. However, living entities also gave freedom to remain either in this material world or in the spiritual world. Therefore, we also say that living entities are the marginal potency of the Lord, which is either up and downs, internal and external, superior and inferior. He is in between. And then Lord Brahma talks about everything and everyone, how they are dependent on Krishna. He talks about how Vedic literatures, demigods, different planets, and sacrifices are meant for serving the Lord. Also, different types of yoga systems or mysticisms and all austerities are actually aimed at realizing Krishna or Narayana, the Supreme Lord. And Srila Prabhupada comments here again that the supreme worshipable deity is Narayana. The demigods are recommended secondarily for worship in relation to Narayana because the demigods are assisting hands in the management of the universal affairs. One analogy here he provides is that as the officers of a kingdom are respected due to their relation to the king, the demigods are worshipped due to the relation to the Lord. Without the Lord's relation, worship of the demigods is unauthorized. Just as it is improper to water the leaves and branches of a tree without watering its root. Therefore, the demigods are also dependent on Narayana. And then Lord Brahma starts talking about how the super soul acts. He admits that he is also created by Supreme Lord only. He just discovered under Lord's vision as super soul what is already created by the Supreme Lord. And Srila Prabhupada says in the Kathopanishad, it is a reference that the Lord is described as the Sarva Bhutantaratma, or the personality of Godhead who resides in everybody's body and who directs everything for one who is a soul surrendered unto him. Those who are not surrendered souls are put under the care of the material nature. Therefore, they are allowed to do things on their own account and suffer the consequences themselves. And then the cause of creation, it talks about how each of them is created, not in a, maybe it's not in this straightforward, like not in a order maybe, but it talks about what are all the causes of creation. I mean, Supreme Lord, he finalizes that at each and every of his verse. So the first one is the Supreme Lord, for the sake of the creation of the material world and its maintenance and annihilation, He incarnates as the first Purusha, Karanarnavashai Vishnu. The Mahat Tattva, or the principles of material creation, take place. And then time is manifested. This is the first cause of all creation. And then three qualities appears, and they transform into activities, which we say, natural instinct of each and every living being. Due to the mode of ignorance, matter, its knowledge, and different activities of material knowledge come into play. And the self-centered materialistic ego, it's being transformed into three features, becomes known as the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. And false ego is generated from the marginal potency of the Lord. And due to this false ego of lording it over the material creation, ingredients are generated for the false enjoyment of the living being. And from the darkness of false ego, 5 elements, the first of the 5 elements, namely the sky, is generated. Its subtle form is the quality of sound. And because the sky is transformed, the air is generated with the quality of touch. And by previous succession, the air is also full of sound. When the air is transformed in course of time and nature's course, fire is generated, taking shape with the sense of touch and sound. Since fire is also transformed, there is a manifestation of water, full of juice and taste. As previously, it also has form and touch and is also full of sound. And water, being transformed from all variegatedness on earth, appears odorous and, as previously, becomes qualitatively full of juice, touch, sound, and form respectively. These elements are all mutually the cause and effect of one another, but the original cause is the Lord himself in plenary portion as Mahavishnu, lying in the causal water of the Mahat Tattva. And from the mode of goodness, the mind is generated and becomes manifest, as also the 10 demigods controlling the bodily movements, like Sun God, Fire God, Lord Brahma himself, and King of Heaven, etc. And by further transformation of the mode of passion, the sense organs like the ear, skin, nose, eyes, tongue, mouth, hands, genitals, legs, and the outlet for evacuating, together with intelligence and living energy, are all generated. And now, how Lord Brahma says that the forms of the body cannot take place as long as these created parts, namely the elements, senses, mind, and modes of nature, are not assembled. So then this universe and all other universes certainly came into existence. Srila Prabhupada has an analogy here, exactly like different types of motor cars manufactured by assembling the motor parts. When the car is ready, the driver sits in the car and moves it as he decides. The living entity is as if seated on the machine of the body, and the car of the body is moved by the control of material nature. And then these universes remain for a long time within the water, the causal ocean, and the Lord, as Garbhodakashai Vishnu, or Hiranyagarbha super soul, enters into each and every universe and causes it to be animated by begetting the living entities within the womb of the material nature. And he entered into each universe and assumed the Virat Rupa with thousands of legs, arms, mouth, heads, etc. Srila Prabhupada comments here very beautifully, like how this Virat Rupa is expanded. Although the universal form, as imagined by the great philosophers, is one of the features of the Lord, it is more or less imaginary. The idea impressed herein is that the Supreme Lord is conscious of every part of his body, and nowhere in the creation is there anything beyond his control. Like the Brahmanas represent his mouth, the Kshatriyas his arms, the Vaishyas thighs, and the Shudras are born of his legs. The lower planetary systems up to the limit of the earthly stratum are said to be situated in his legs. Like Atala is situated on the waist, like with the second Vitala is situated on the thighs, as you see on the screenshot, whatever it shows. But those are different lower planetary systems. And the middle planetary systems, beginning from Bhurloka, are situated in his navel. And the still higher planetary systems occupied by the demigods and highly cultured sages and saints are situated in the chest of the Supreme Lord. And Srila Prabhupada says here, in other words, no one within this universe is without a relationship with the Lord. And from the forefront of the chest up to the neck of the universal form of the Lord are situated the planetary systems named Janaloka and Tapaloka, whereas Satyaloka, the topmost planetary system, is situated on the head of the form. And I just want to glorify, that's how it ends after the Virat Rupa expansion and explanation of how it manifests. And then the glorifying of Srila Prabhupada, I saw in each of his purpose, he brings us that Krishna is the cause of all causes, that he doesn't deviate from the theme or the topic of this chapter. and he presents several analogies for our own easy understanding. Otherwise, this subject is a lot of philosophy and very technical. And then Narada Muni, glorifying him as he acted here as a student. Even though he's son of Lord Brahma, he acted as a student, and his father, he treated him as a spiritual master. And Prabhupada says this is the perfection of the Parampara system. He did not accept Lord Brahma, who is a spiritual master, as God. Srila Prabhupada comments on this that one should not blindly accept a spiritual master as God himself. However, a spiritual master is duly respected on a par with God. And Narada Muni, he is a liberated soul, and he is asking on behalf of all of us. Like Srila Prabhupada comments, why Narada Ji was not aware of the Supreme Lord, even though he's a liberated soul, and why he misconceived Brahmaji to be the Supreme Lord. And he also answers that it takes place by the will of the Lord, so that other non-liberated persons may realize the real truth and knowledge of the Lord. In fact, even when Brahma starts his answers, replying to Narada Muni, he says, you are merciful to all, including myself, by asking all these questions. And when Narada Muni asks all these questions about the Supreme Personality Godhead, Lord Brahma becomes very enthusiastic. Srila Prabhupada says here that this is a sign of the pure devotee. They become very enthusiastic whenever they are questioned concerning the personality of Godhead. And Lord Brahmaji is that's how he is in this when he asks the questions. And at the end, Lord Krishna, glorifying him as no words, but he empowered Lord Brahma to create such a wonderful universe for all of us, just like Arjuna is inspired to fight in the battle of Kurukshetra. He created this because we desired, like all the entities, living entities, and then he expanded himself as so many. How he created, like we went through, like Mahavishnu, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, and at the end he is also within us with super soul, directing us, and he sent his associates like Narada Muni, Srila Prabhupada, the whole disciplic succession, again to get us back to him, the abode of Krishna. So he did everything for us. He is taking care of us in every way. I think, in recently in Canto 3, we also read how Lord Brahma, he created the living entities, and first there are like 10 sons, out of them is Narada Muni. The other 9 sons are born out of passion, and just the Narada Muni in his deliberation with meditation to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when he's doing that, then Narada Muni appeared, or he was born. So he's only one who delivers all of us. That's what Narada Muni is doing. He does. So yeah, this ends my topic. Thank you again for bearing with me.
Wow,
Hare
so
Krishna.
beautiful. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. You brought up so many different points, and this is definitely very technical for me. I can personally say that. But the way you explained it, it was like a piece of cake. Like, it just, you were so, it felt like you exactly knew what you're saying and understood this. I still cannot understand this to the extent that you've realized this chapter. But yeah, some of the things that I wanted to also what it helped me understand this chapter is not to only see things in the pratyaksha way. So the direct observance. Narad Muni, and a lot of other people, I mean, even though people may think that this was the creation of the world is by Brahma, but Narad Muni didn't just see that. He said, like, who gave you this intelligence? Who who was behind this? Like, he asked, how did Brahma create this, instead of just thinking that he's the one who created it. So that's very important point that I also think we should not just take things as we see it. We should go a step behind and then see why. As you said, cause of all causes, right? We shouldn't just see everything. You brought out like how everything is created by the by the body of the Virat Rupa, but again, this is that's still materialistic form. The cause of all causes is still Lord Vishnu for all of that, which is it shows us the greatness of the Lord. And one who surrenders to Krishna, what you specifically said, one who surrenders to Krishna, they cannot be bewildered by this material energy. And then, the example you gave, the analogy of the officers, they're respected as, because they're serving the king. So same thing, the demigods are serving the Lord, which is why they're respected and they have this power. So we should understand that, and understand that, the cause of all causes, even, that is the Lord himself. And one thing you said about how the Lord directs his, his devotees who are surrendered to him. Others are acting independently, but so we should know that when a devotee says something to us or gives us some, some kind of, even like, not just a guidance, but even like service or anything, we should understand that this is coming from the Lord, because he's the one who's residing within the heart and helping us go towards him in this way. So that's another thing that I thought, and how, you described the technicalities. Again, I'm not really good with this. So how the false ego is created, how the 3 modes and then the 5 elements are created, and then the mind is created, and then the sense organs, again, everything is from the Virat Rupa that you said. And understanding this, that no one is, without any relationship with the Lord. It's very important, I think, when we, at least for me, I can say, when there's someone who's not a devotee or, in the materialistic life, it's very hard for us to, or me to think, how can you not feel this for the Lord? Or how can, whenever we talk about Lord, they're just not even interested in this topic. And when we understand that everyone has this relationship, so instead of thinking why and how bad someone is or something, why you're not interested, we should be more compassionate towards them and help them get to that level, to help them understand the relationship with Krishna. So that is what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission is, to help everyone go to him. And these forgetful souls, definitely we need to help them go to him, and the only way we can do that is by being compassionate towards them. So and also the pure devotee will know that whenever there's, they're very enthusiastic when there's the Lord topic of the Lord being discussed. So that was also very encouraging to understand and know and hear again. Beautiful devotees. I also wanted to open the floor now for anyone who has any questions or any realizations that they wanted to share from, Kiran Prabhu's lecture or Kishore Prabhu's lecture. So please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Mataji, I just want to as Kishore Prabhu was ended with glorification, I just want to that is a great point for a devotee to get started, right? So where you're in lot of places, like in Nectar of Instruction, even the only way for us to stop talking about nonsense is glorifying the Lord, right? So which I thought when Kishore Prabhu was mentioning, I was yeah, it's we have to glorify, we have to engage our tongue only for glorifying the Lord. And we cannot, we are actually totally indebted to Srila Prabhupada. Without him, none of us will be here, right? He took his pain in his old age, to come to the Western world and do all these things. It's because of him we all are actually at least in the starting point of, I would say for myself, I am just a starting person in the Krishna consciousness. So it's basically I would like to thanks to Kishore Prabhu for bringing this point. It is basically only by Srila Prabhupada's mercy we all are here, and his mercy is everywhere. We can turn around and see, he has given us the Association of Devotees. He has given us this lot of books, and he has given us deities, and he's given us for discussion, a platform to discuss, and all that is basically because of him. So I thought it's a nice thing, we all have to come together and always glorify Srila Prabhupada and his mercy. So, and the other thing actually I want to talk about is like Megha Mataji, when even I was in that state, like before like 1 year, I usually feel like, why is that nobody is interested in talking about Krishna, right? So one of my senior devotee, one of my mentor actually gave like, have you ever realized that you were in that state in one of your lifetime? It's somebody, some devotee has mercifully has blessed you. And that's what you're here. Otherwise, it's not possible. Like you won't get into the Krishna consciousness unless until it is being given by a devotee with his compassion, right? So when you start thinking like I was also in that stage and someone has actually blessed me, then you will never see like, why is that this person is not taking up? You will see like in the next 2 or 3 life, since he has come to temple, he will come into the contact with Krishna conscious person, right? So that is how like the evolution, and we are taking different births and different things, but the thing is like it's only the mercy of the great devotees who is actually like they were able to bless us, give us their association, and that's what we are. At least myself, I'm sticking I would say like little bit sticking to Krishna consciousness. Otherwise it's not even possible. So I thought like I would say like thanks a lot for all the services which all the devotees are offering to Srimad Bhagavatam, and hope we all continue to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam throughout our lifetime. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji, for bringing out such beautiful points, especially about glorifying Srila Prabhupada and how important the association of devotees is. And that's how we can build our compassion. And as well as, this Srimad Bhagavatam glorification is, this is what we're trying to serve Srila Prabhupada by serving Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is something we can at least, something very little we can give back. So I thank you everyone who's joined, continuously joining this glorification class and, taking part in glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam in different chapters. So I'm sure, Prabhupada is watching, and then the Lord is watching that we're trying to please his devotees. And so definitely he's going to be blessing all of you so very much. So thank you so much for being so enthusiastically joining and, continuously joining every Friday, because without you, this either. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Radha Mataji. Anyone else have any other realization?
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. It was wonderful. And seeing Kiran Prabhu after a long time was great. And both Prabhus did such a wonderful job. I just would like to highlight one verse from chapter 4. Chapter 4 for everyone's notice again. It just so stuck to my mind reading this time. That is text 21. It is the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna who gives liberation. By thinking of his lotus feet every second, following in the footsteps of authorities, the devotee in trance can see the absolute truth. The learned mental speculators, however, think of him according to their whims. May the Lord be pleased with me. And so, without break, that is a haitiki apradihata. This Shukadeva Goswami's prayers are so beautiful, so touching, glorifying Lord Krishna. So, and in this verse, he's saying at every second, the great devotees are meditating on, they are never deviated from that constant meditation on the lotus feet of the Lord. This is so wonderful. Thank you all so much. Yes, as Radhe Mataji said, glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam and glorifying Srila Prabhupada go together, because he has given us these beautiful translations which we can so understand. Otherwise, how will we? Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna, for giving me the chance to speak.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Okay. Anyone else have any other realizations or sharings? If not, we will continue again next Friday. Again, thank you so much for joining, everyone, and thank you so much for taking on this service enthusiastically and making sure this goes keeps on going. So greatly indebted to you for all your services. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
ki jai.
Jai.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yeah, thanks a lot,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, thanks, Ande Mataji.